Good afternoon. We are here with the second day Q&A and we seems to have some reports.
Avasara Bhante, we received 4 reports today. Report number 1, walking meditation. Avasara Bhante, I started my meditation by first picking a sand path and began walking. I would then start to note the left and right foot. I would also feel the warmth and the cold sensation of the sand. As I was noting, thoughts came in. I tried to acknowledge them and come back to the full feel of the feet, but it was getting louder, like trying to study with the TV on next to you. My mind was in constant battle, pushing and pulling, trying to come to the primary object of the feet. This continued for the rest of the session. Sitting meditation. I sat down for the sitting meditation and I first scanned my body. After that, I brought the focus to the breath. As I was focusing on the breath, similar experience happened where I am trying to focus but my mind is going full speed, jumping from thought to thought. I keep bringing the mind back, but the thoughts are loud and hard to ignore. This happened all throughout. Number 1, Bhante, should I just be patient with myself and continue the practice? Number 2, in my day-to-day life, should allocate time to think mindfully. Thero Saranai.
Yes, thinking we have done our entire lives and these are the results of it. Yes, because we have done so much thinking. When we try to simply be, it's not easy. It becomes a whole new struggle with the thought processes, right? So, excessive thinking, that's what we have done and this is the result that you are experiencing in your practice. You can see how it gets too loud, how the struggle becomes too tiring. That happens, right? So, in such occasions, of course, you have to be more patient with yourself. Maybe allow simply the mind to be with full of thoughts. Instead of coming back to the primary object, you can simply be with the thoughts. Notice how this struggle is there in the mind, trying to think thoughts and how it is too overwhelming. Simply being aware of that would be part of your practice. And with that awareness, you can gently navigate yourself back to the primary object. So here you have to balance the effort. Now it feels like you are exerting too much effort and as a result getting exhausted, right? So you can lower the effort a little bit, allow the mind to go a bit crazy, and simply being aware of that, you can gently return your attention back to the primary. I am not suggesting to forget the primary object. I am suggesting allow the mind to go crazy a little. If you start fighting it a lot, then it is too exhausting. You drains your energy, right? So that balance you can figure out. Reducing the effort a little would help in such a situation. Yes, that's the solution that we can give. And even in your daily life, instead of thinking mindfully, simply try to notice the body more and more. That would definitely help, because in your daily life you have been encouraging thoughts a lot, and as a result this happens in meditation. But what we suggest is simply notice the thinking mind time after time and simply return to a bodily sensation. Even in your daily life you can practice this. And when you do it for a while, this becomes much easier. maybe thought processes, they reduce their power a little. And you can easily manage your meditation with a certain level of mindfulness. So that will come eventually, but this phase would be a bit difficult. So you have to figure out your own practice in this. And even in your daily life, you can train yourself, bringing your attention to the body. So that's the idea I want to give. Try and see.
Report number 2. Most Venerable Bhante, sitting meditation. Most of the time I start with the breath that I observe at nostrils, which disappears after a few minutes. In instances where I have more thoughts, I understood that it's easy for me to just observe everything together or just be, and then the outcome is more concentration related where there is light and body is bit stiff with different sensations. Finally, both will lead to a situation where there is integration of so-called self with the outside environment. Should I use the second method even when there are not much thoughts also? That is, just be and observe without paying attention to any specific thing. Thero and Saranai.
Yes, the first thing is that the disappearance of your breath. That happens as a result of the practice. So it's a good omen. You can consider it as a good omen, which comes as a result of the practice. But disappearance of breath, it is not permanent. It is happening at a certain time, and after a while it comes back again. Right? So when the breath disappears, you can really see how your observation or the experience changes. These changes you are experiencing, that's what the latter part of the report is about. When the breath disappears, what type of observation you can do. Right? You can simply observe the whole thing as a system, as a process, thoughts, bodily sensations, sounds, everything as a process or as a whole thing you can observe. That's one way. Then you can simply be as you suggest. Right? So these options are available. You can try different ways. You can try different options and see which works the best for you. Sometimes it is happening automatically. A certain way of observation comes, it happens automatically, and it lasts for a while and then disappears. Sometimes you feel like you have a choice over it. You feel like you can change the observation. Right? So these things you have to experiment with them and see what works best for you. My opinion is that sometimes although it feels like you are controlling it happens naturally. Different experiences come naturally, and that natural process we can allow it to happen. Right? So you are passing a good phase in meditation, but you yourself can experiment with it and figure out the proper balance. You have to do many sessions in order to figure out what works best for you. Right? So that's the idea I want to give. So every day do a sitting session, do a walking session. That way you may continue your practice and figure out the exact balance that works for you.
Report number 3. Most respected Bhante, although I am aware that I shouldn't entertain thoughts during sitting or walking, but when I get solutions to what I need to do, since those solutions are really profound solutions, in most instances I can't or don't feel like resisting. I know I am doing the practice to realize truth and not to find solutions to these worldly matters. Still, I have not been successful to stop this habit. Please provide me some tools and techniques to stop this habit.
Yes, so the solutions appear when your mind relaxes. That's what happens. That's why they say most of the inventions are done not in a lab but in a pub. Right? You are in a lab, you try to solve this matter. At the end of the day, you get sick and tired and you decide to go for a break. You go to a pub. And when you relaxes, only the solution pops in your head. Right? So that's true. That happens. Even in attaining Nibbana or improving your practice, so much of trying people do. They sit in their meditation, they somehow try to attain. Right? But at the end of the day, they get sick and tired and they go for a break. Suddenly, realization comes. Right? So that type of a thing is there. The mind has to be relaxed. That's the very way. Our forcing, we are trying to strive, trying to achieve something, it won't do. Right? So these experiences are natural. You realize that when your mind is relaxed, naturally certain solutions, certain ideas come to your mind. That's not an obstacle for your practice if you know how to handle it. If you don't know how to handle it, then that becomes an obstacle to your practice. Many people, they start writing notes, trying to save the idea. Yes. So allow thoughts to come, allow the mind to relax. That's okay. But you simply continue your meditation. You simply continue your sitting or walking practice. If the idea is meant to be, then I am sure you will remember it afterwards. You will remember it when the time comes. You will remember it when you go home. Right? So that would be the proper use of it. Otherwise, we simply become a slave to this realization or insight that happens or that comes as a result of the practice. These ideas, these thoughts, they come as a result of the relaxed mind. And if you don't know how to handle it, then that very result becomes an obstacle in your practice. So allow these things to come. We are not denying that. We continue our usual practice, and at the end, I am sure, when the time is right, you will remember whatever that's meant to be. That's the idea you should have. Simply continue your practice. Don't try to get caught in these thoughts or ideas.
The last report number 4. Dear Venerable Thero, I have been going through various phases of life, but I always felt something missing whenever I accomplished something. And your session yesterday was very insightful and clarified my doubts. I am very new to mindful meditation and I am trying to integrate with my daily life. In this regard, I would like to clarify below areas in the context or on loved ones and outsiders. 1. How to control emotions and emotional attachments. 2. How can we manage and control our mind when others are behaving unethically and immoral way? Thanks in advance for your guidance.
Yes, so most people, they feel this lack in their life. They try to deny it. They try various methods. But at the end of the day, if you are truthful to yourself, you know no matter what you do, still you are left with a feeling of lack. Right? The worldly things can't satisfy that feeling of lacking. Instead, only through the practice, you may be able to satisfy yourself. That's the whole idea about the practice. The lasting kind of a happiness. How to attain that? Even Buddha was on the same quest, seeing all the luxuries in a palace, experiencing them for many years. At the end of the day, he decided to leave that whole comfort in order to find a lasting peace. So all of us, we are in that same path, although we might be, traveling slow, or although we might be just starting, we all are in the same path, right? So you have to continue your practice and painstakingly grow it. More you grow your practice, more fulfilled or more satisfied you become due to the faculties that you develop in your mind. There's no other way, no other option, right? Handling emotional attachment, handling emotions, dealing with difficult people, all these skills, all these abilities you can develop through the practice only, right? Most people, they struggle with their emotions. They try to find some quick fix, but that's not there, that's not available, right? We have to develop our mind, and as a result we'll be able to deal with our emotions or emotional attachments more skillfully. That's the only option, right? Most people, let's say anger, something like anger, most people, they become slave to anger. In these days you can see so many incidents how the anger makes them a slave. Sometimes certain people, they do things in a short while and they have to pay back with the entire lifespan, right? Maybe go to jail, maybe even getting the capital punishment, right? All these things come due to the anger. Forget about those big matters, even a family life. If you have to, develop a good family life, you have to have these emotions under control. Otherwise, even, your spouse, they get sick and tired of you because you can't control your emotions. You are becoming a slave to anger, things like that, right? So these skills are valuable, but how to develop them? The only way is to improve your practice, improve your faculties. And as a result, you can see the mind doesn't become a slave to these emotions, thought processes, things like that. That ability will develop gradually. I remember one time a person, he was saying the result of couple of months worth of practice. He was saying every day 10 minutes early in the morning he has done a sitting session. That's his daily practice. 10 minutes of sitting. Daily he has done for maybe couple of months, let's say. And this person was saying he takes the highway to work, and in the highway he had this anger related reaction. When certain vehicles try to pass him, he doesn't allow it, right? Maybe sometimes he chases after the vehicle and overtakes, again come to the left side. That way he was having certain anger issues with certain drivers, unbehaved drivers, and that's his morning traveling. But after doing the meditation for a couple of months, this fellow, he was experiencing a difference in his attitude. The vehicles come, but he doesn't react as he used to do. He allows the vehicle to pass, and within couple of minutes, you are back to your normal, comfortable mind. But if you start, a road rage, if you start chasing a vehicle, then that very effort, that very anger could destroy your whole day even. Right? So this person was saying, due to the practice, now I save my petrol, the vehicle petrol. Not only in the vehicle, but even in my mind, I save the energy. Right? Because he doesn't waste the energy with that anger struggle. Right? So you can see these wise decisions are there, but we can't see them, or we can't do them because of the emotions, because of becoming a slave to an emotion. Right? But if you have that authority, if you have that control, then you can easily make a choice. Instead of reacting, you can respond. Those abilities are there, and you can develop them. Gradually, you can develop, and more you practice, more control you will have with your emotions or emotional attachment. That's one thing. Then the same goes for other people. Different people are there. Certain people, they behave in various ways. So we have little control over them. Right? It's only our internal reaction that we can control. The world is full of such people. Don't be mistaken. Always the world will be like that. Right? You deal with your society. You think that the society is bad. These people are bad. I will go to a meditation center or a monastery. Right? I can only find good people there. Yes? But you go to a monastery, you spend couple of months, you realize it is the same people that's in the outside world. It's another sample of the society. Right? Maybe even more dangerous people you can find in a meditation center or in a monastery. That's how it is. Right? So you can't avoid people. The only option would be for you to become more skillful dealing with them. That's the only option. Whether you go to the outside world, whether you come to a meditation center, people are people. Right? We can't avoid that. The only option would be for you to become more skillful. Changing someone else would be a difficult one. What you can do is dealing with situations, dealing with people more effectively, more skillfully. That ability you can develop. Right? And when you have that emotional control, when you have that strength, then it becomes more like a game. Dealing with certain people, dealing with difficult people, you know how to handle it. You know how to handle the situation. Right? It becomes more like a hobby now. That ability we have, even certain family members, sometimes you feel like it's too difficult to deal with them. But if you develop your mind, if you have your emotions under control, then various new options, new ways of dealing with them become available to you. Right? With those skills, with those emotional strengths, you can really find a way to deal better. That's the whole idea. That's why that popular quote, Rumi says, yesterday I was smart. I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. Changing oneself would be the available option to us. No matter how you try, changing someone else would be difficult. Right? If you change yourself, I'm sure it will be a silent sermon for the surrounding, for the other people. Even they see a difference in your reaction, and sometimes they want to investigate. It becomes a silent sermon even for others. Right? That's the whole idea. You have a long way to go, but what we encourage is simply doing the daily practice, at least like 20-30 minutes of mindful sitting daily, and continue for few months. When you continue, you yourself can realize that you are becoming more skillful. Right? The same the earlier experience I explained, that person, he realized himself that I am becoming more skillful due to the practice. I am preserving my energy. I don't waste it. Right? And I can manage my daily situations much better, much wisely. That's the whole idea. Good luck. Yes, so we are done with the written reports. Do we have anything?
Is there anyone who wants to speak on something?
Swamin Wahansa, in this context, could you say something about this concept of emotional intelligence? And what my specific question is, does meditation help to increase empathy in one, or has it got to be very meditation of a specific kind, like Maitri meditation? Should that be practiced in order to develop that? I would like your response.
Yes, so emotional intelligence, these qualities, the world talks about them a lot. Empathy, compassion, kindness, those things. But how to develop them? That's the important question. Now even in school syllabus, they teach all these things. Right? They teach the value of empathy. They talk about emotional intelligence. All those things are taught. But how to develop it? When you see the educational system, when you see young people, you can see the whole system is an utter failure. Right? They talk about all these qualities, human qualities, but they don't have a way to develop them. I remember even when I was younger, Sunday school, right? For like few years I went, just for the sake of going, I went. I remember we had this, headmaster. He was a village kind of a fellow, and he, whenever the teacher is not available, he comes and tells children, don't shout. This verse you have to go through it. You have to recite it with your memory. I'll come in 30 minutes. Right? Some kind of a verse. Good qualities. Right? So he will write a verse, ask us to, remember it when he comes in 30 minutes or so. Right? The verse is all about good qualities. Right? Don't spit everywhere. Just do it properly. Some kind of a like this. Right? And after giving the verse, going out, the fellow will do the exact opposite. Right? He has a mouthful of betel nuts, and on the way he will spit. Right? The exact opposite of the advice given. So that's how the world works. You can feed on joy thinking about it. Yes? Laughter becomes your food when you deal with such people. Right? So that's how the world is. Many people, they advise young people, but they don't know how to develop these qualities. Everyone, they appreciate these qualities. Although they appreciate, they can't develop. How can you develop something like empathy? That's difficult. Yes? So, only way would be through meditation, through developing your mind. For example, that MBSR research that they have done, mindfulness-based stress reduction. They have taken a sample group, they have taken a group, and the whole research, they have done 40 minutes of daily meditation for 8 weeks. Mindfulness. Right? Every day you sit for 40 minutes. That's all you have to do. Then you go to your daily matters. Then again tomorrow you come and sit for 40 minutes. So before and after they have compared the brain scans. And after 8 weeks, they see clear differences in the brain scans, and they see certain areas are developed. Certain areas, they have become weaker. For example, things those fight-flight response. Those areas, they see a clear reduction in grey matter. Right? Those areas, they have weakened. Then stress, anxiety related areas, they see a clear reduction in grey matter, weakened. Then things like critical thinking, memory related areas, they have become stronger. Empathy, compassion, kindness, kind of those areas in the brain, they have become stronger. So you can see after even 8 weeks, you can see how the brain is changing. A meditator's brain is changing for the better. Right? So those things, those researchers, they provide evidence into the practice. But even without those researchers, if you do the practice, then you know that it works and it will help you to develop these qualities within you. Right? So that would be the way. You do your daily practice, you do for a few weeks, then you get to see the results of the practice. Otherwise, we can talk about these qualities, but nothing will happen. So, developing them through the practice, the meditation would be the way, and there is no specific time for meditation. Instead, meditate all the time. That would be the best advice. Simply being mindful. No matter what you do, simply being mindful, you can develop yourself. And if you want a fixed slot, then of course you can do early morning kind of a sitting session. Those options are available for you. There's no specific time. Whatever the time that you can find would do. But many people, they prefer early morning for a sitting session. And maybe towards the night before bed, they do a walking session. That way, they try to manage themselves. Right? Anyway, the whole idea is to simply do your daily practice and continue for a few weeks. And within few weeks, few months, you can really see the results of your practice. Try and see. You can research that MBSR research. You can find it on the web and see how these changes are happening.
Bhante, I have a question on that. Now, you keep meditating, like say for years you keep meditating, but for some time, for about 3 months or 6 months, for whatever reason, you don't do your practice, morning sitting and all that. Do you go back on your qualities?
Yes, whether it's, do you feel like it is changing, or it is like going back to the usual ways, or do you feel like the change is permanent? That's
Change
the
is not.
question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now what happens is like you see the results when you meditate like for years and years, you see the results because you are not the same person, you yourself realize it. But for whatever reason, like maybe for about 6 months, of course, you know, like when you're getting angry, you know. But then earlier you were not getting angry, you were not getting angry so easily. Things like that. So
Yes.
that means, do you keep meditating till you die?
No, the whole idea is that the change should be permanent, right?
That's right.
Otherwise, no point. Especially, we are not talking about concentration. We are talking about wisdom faculty, Vipassana. The change should be permanent, right? Initially, the very initial change would be temporary. More like, due to concentration, the thoughts and emotions are suppressed. But that doesn't last, no? Again, the things will come, right? So that's why the mindfulness is important. When you practice mindfulness, the whole idea is that the change will happen and change is permanent.
Thing is permanent.
Yes, that's the whole idea. But the thing with the mind is that it is always changing, right? So if you don't develop it continuously, then maybe it goes in some other direction as well. That option is available. So you have to meditate up to a point of non-return. That would be the best. Yes. But I'm sure many years of practice, they see even now without the formal practice, the mindfulness is there and it supports them, right? But life is a long time, so you have to make sure that you continue the journey in a positive direction. The brain, it has the ability to change. It has the ability to change, whether it's for good or whether it's for worse. It will always change. Right? So what we try to do with meditation is make sure that change is positive. Even people who develop addictions, it's a changing brain. Right? Change is destructive. I have met so many young people, don't know why they are coming with, sometimes with parents, sometimes with a therapist, they are coming, and the addictions they are experiencing, especially with the technology, especially with this new age, the younger generations, Gen Z, right? Gen Z, after 2010. Those generations, they have a whole new level of mental health issues, right? They can't focus, they can't concentrate, they don't do their daily maintenance work, nothing they do. They're simply watching at a phone and simply being. Not even taking a shower, right? Not feeding themselves. They have become, some of them, not everyone, they have become a real burden for their parents. Now he is like a cripple, staying at home, doing nothing, not even taking a shower, and the fellow is saying suicidal thoughts, trying to harm himself, trying to off himself, right? So the parents are running here and there, how to solve this matter, what to do. They try to do puja. No many pujas will do, right? What can you do, right? So you can see how an addiction is developed, and when it is that level, when you reach that level, it is not easy to go back. So you have to rehabilitate the fellow with some professionals. That's the only thing that can be done. Keeping them on their own is risky. So those type of minds, they were fine maybe few years ago. But gradually a certain addiction developed. And now the fellow, or now that boy, he's caught. Now he can't help it. Right? So you can see even a healthy mind can change into that type of a situation. So always we have to take care of our mental health. That's the priority. Especially for newcomers, we encourage you to, do a daily session, do your meditation, make sure that you take care of yourself. That is important. If you don't do that, when you reach a certain level of non-return, then can't help it. Right? When the mind breaks with an addiction, you can't return back to normal. You may be able to return, but it will be a whole, many years of therapy, many years of taking care of it. So why do that? Mindfulness, it acts like a preventive measure. Prevention, we don't see the benefit of it. That's the issue. When we prevent things, we don't experience the real difficulty, We don't see the value in it. The prevention, we don't feel like it. You get into an accident, you break your leg, you recover, you feel the value of it. But totally avoiding the situation, you don't feel the value of it because you don't get to go through that difficulty. Right? So the meditation or the practice, it's all about prevention. Preventing your mental health issues. Preventing the issues that might come due to stress, anger. Preventing many of the family matters that might come due to a weaker mind. So we always have to take care of ourselves, pay attention to your mental health, and continue. And when you do it for a certain number of years, then the whole process becomes more or less natural. Yes? So till we reach that point, it's important to pay attention to yourself and maintain your daily practice.
Thank you, Bhante. Are there any more friends?
Hi, again. Yesterday I talked about how I sense the temporary things of life. So
Now it's permanent.
No, now I feel that it's temporary. So is that part of getting rid of ignorance? And if that is, then what are the ignorances there to get rid of? And how do you do that? How do you get rid of the other ignorance that is there in the mind, kind of?
So you are certain that the ignorance is there, right? That we don't have to verify, no? It is there. A certain level of darkness is there. And simply, instead of the darkness, we try to replace it with a light. That's the whole idea. Mindfulness, let's say for a moment, you are aware. It's the light. Earlier you don't know that you have these thoughts. Now at least you know that you are thinking these type of thoughts. Earlier you don't know that your mind goes crazy. Now you know that your mind is all over the place. Now remember that very first report or the second one? Right? You can see so many thoughts in the background. You can see how mind goes crazy. Right? You can see how much of a struggle it becomes to bring to the primary object. That very experience, it brings a whole new level of awareness to yourself. Right? Earlier you didn't know, you were dealing with the same mind, but you didn't know. Now due to the practice, you know how much of a struggle to deal with these thoughts. How much of a struggle to pay attention to the primary object. That very level of awareness you are developing, and more you practice, more awareness or more light you will develop. Today you see a certain aspect, tomorrow you get to see a bigger picture. Day after tomorrow you can see even a bigger picture. It's a ongoing journey, but little by little you improve yourself, you improve your awareness. As a result, the ignorance, it is reduced. That's the whole idea. So it's like, living in water and asking what is water, like a fish living in water. Can you explain to it, this is how the water is like? The whole thing is water, right? There's no seeing out of it. That's how we are. It's like the ignorance, we live in ignorance. That's the whole journey. That's how we function. And when we talk about light or awareness or wisdom, it's a whole new concept to us, right? But gradually we develop it, and Buddha's guidance, it's important. He is out of the ignorance and he is saying, okay, you are living in water, right? I'm out of water, you live in water, try to come out of it. It's not easy, right? But somehow this struggle you have to continue. Continue for a few more years and see. I'm sure you can see an improvement.
Objects are not real. So how do you get to that kind of awareness that objects are not real, and that in-depth kind of reality kind of?
You have to get out of the water and see, right? We are in water. We talk about somebody who is out of water. Arahants are like this. The author, did he know? No, right? He is just writing something. We are reading something. But comparatively, we don't know what the experience is like. You can talk about Arahants, but talking is just talking. Right? What you can do is, you are not an Arahant, no. That is assured. Right? You are a worldly person. You start there, right? You develop your practice. Then comparatively you can see you are going towards Arahants. Right? Comparatively you can see, I am not affected by objects as I used to do. That experience is verifiable, right? You get my point?
Yeah.
That experience is verifiable. Right? Only talk about something that is verifiable. This ideal Arahants, we don't know, no? Right? I am also trying to meet someone, Arahant, couldn't find. Trying and searching, no. Right? The only option would be, you know that you are not an Arahant. You are a worldly person, right? And you know how you started your practice. The starting point you know. And do the practice for a couple of months and see whether there is a comparative difference between the earlier status and the current status. Right? If there is a difference, then you see a progress towards somewhere. Right? Then do couple more months of practice and see the comparison. That way only we can experience. Right? That we can verify. I think that would be the best way. Otherwise we talk about Arahants, these romantic pictures we try to develop, but in reality we don't know. Right? Many Arahants are there. They are coming and they are telling that I am an Arahant. Can you verify? No. They say, whatever they say, we can't verify. So the best option would be to follow something that is verifiable. Your own practice you can verify. You do few weeks of practice, you can verify the progress. You do few months of practice, you can verify the progress. You do few years of practice, you can verify the progress. That would be the best way to understand these things. Otherwise we simply talk for the sake of talking, but nobody knows. Yes, seems like we are done. So we have couple of hours for walking and sitting practice. Then at 4, we will meet for today's sermon.